Beautiful.
So I love what you said about perfectionism. And I think perfectionism is such a interesting thing in a young adult's life. You graduate college, and Sam and I both say that, you know, for many, college is you're on this GPS, essentially. You know, you got people who are really supporting you. And I'm not saying after college you don't have people who are supporting you, but you're in a position in undergrad where there's a lot of guidance and there's a lot of people helping you get that way. And when you graduate, you join the real world. You may go to grad school like yourself or go right into the job. And for me personally, when I graduated, I felt as if I had to be perfect in my job. And what's really interesting is that with that thought in my head, I also had this grand sense of imposter syndrome when I was in these rooms with these really brilliant, smart people. And what happened was, especially my first year out of school, and sometimes even today, is I really lost touch with myself because of these feelings. And Sam and I, this is part of the reason why Elevation Nation was started in the first place, was that we felt young adults also felt this way. And it was so difficult at times to know truly who you are because you have those external pressures that you're just, no one's putting them on you besides yourself.
Yep, exactly. It's really hard. It's really hard.
Totally. I mean, it's very difficult to feel like you're in a room. You have to like bring a sense of self that you create in your own mind. Like, hey, I got to be this way, but you necessarily can't or shouldn't. And then at the same time, like that feeling of imposter syndrome, like, damn, why am I even here in the first place? As a young adult, that's tough. So I'm curious, from your perspective, like, what are some things that people can do when they have those thoughts to become more cognizant with themselves and bring them back and almost level themselves out?
Yeah. I mean, I first want to speak to, I totally agree. I mean, I even said in the beginning, when I introduced myself, I was like, it's so exciting to say that I'm a psychotherapist in New York City. Like, come on. There's a little bit of imposter syndrome there. I'm like finally doing the thing that I'm so excited to be doing and I feel confident in. And of course, there are times where I have to tell my clients, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that. I've never been through something like that. I can support you and be with you in your emotions. But for a perfectionist like me, like I definitely have some perfectionist tendencies. Saying I don't know to a client that's coming to me for like support is so vulnerable and scary. And I've been starting to find power in that because that's where the real conversations happen. When I'm fully with you and I'm saying, you know, I don't know that answer. I can really sense this sadness, anger, whatever emotion I'm with, I hearing from you, but yeah, I don't know the answer. I don't know if there's going to be something to solve here. What's that like for me to say, you know? And I think that's modeling. That's true modeling, right? Of me being authentic with both of you saying, yeah, I just don't know that answer. That doesn't mean I'm less of a therapist. That doesn't mean I'm less of a person. That doesn't mean I'm not great. That doesn't mean that I'm not successful. I'm not competent, right? It doesn't mean anything about me. And that's where we all get caught up. It's like, I didn't know blank, and therefore I am blank. Well, you're missing a whole landscape of all the other things that you are so great at and excel in. And it means nothing about you. It means nothing about you. So that's what I would tell a 20-something-year-old. And that's what I tell myself every day is, wait, let's be vulnerable here and say, yeah, I don't know that answer, but I'm going to try to understand the best that I can. And maybe next time I will know the answer. And maybe I'm really good at this and not this. And that's okay. You're a human. We're imperfect.
Sam, I know you want to jump in, but I did want to say something before I forgot about it. It's like the idea of perfectionism almost blocks you from becoming vulnerable with the people around you because you don't want to show that you're not, you know, you don't want to show you're an imposter. You don't want to show that you're imperfect, especially as a young adult. You want to show that you're bringing value to the table. And in reality, if you're not vulnerable with people, it's very difficult to connect, to grow, or should I say elevate. So yeah.
Yep. And, you know, I know, Panitch, I'm going to cut you off one more time. When I think about intimacy, I think about into me, I see, right? So intimacy is into me, I see. It's not intimacy with just other people and other relationships in your life. It's into me, I see. I need to be vulnerable with myself and be self-aware and really do my own emotional work so that I can be vulnerable with other people, right? So I need to acknowledge, hey, I have some perfectionist tendencies because of X, Y, Z that happened in my childhood or experiences that happen in society or school or with friends, and say, okay, what's this perfectionism protecting me from? Oh, it's protecting me from me, my emotions. So I need to be intimate with myself before I can have intimacy and be vulnerable with anyone else.
I have a lot of thoughts because I think this is incredible. But so, Marissa, how do you recommend young people in their 20s can go about having this tough conversation of figuring out who they are, and myself included, right? Like, I think I know some things I'm good at. I think I know some things that I like to do, but to be perfectly honest, like, I still have no idea what I like, what I don't like. Even with Elevation Nation, something that Parker and I are really passionate about. Parker and I are having this conversation today, trying to figure out, like, well, what parts do I actually enjoy? And maybe it's, you know, I'm waking up on the wrong side of the bed, or because I'm not in my routine, I'm not feeling like the right way about things. But sometimes, not just in your 20s when you're starting your first job, but this happens continuously throughout your life. It's difficult to know exactly who you are. And I think that's amplified as well when we have social media where we compare ourselves to other people and we think that's who we need to be. And